Before we start today's episode, I would like to quickly read you our podcast disclaimer. The content in this podcast is for general reference and educational purposes only. It is not meant to be complete or exhaustive or to be applicable to any specific individual's medical condition. No information provided in this podcast constitutes medical advice and is not an attempt to practice medicine or to provide specific medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. This podcast does not create a physician-patient relationship and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please do not rely on this podcast for emergency medical treatment. Remember that everyone is different, so make sure you consult your own healthcare professional before seeking any new treatment and before you alter, suspend, or initiate a new change in your routine. Welcome to The Starting Gate. We're your hosts, Dr. Kitty Dotson
and Dr. Sarah Sheets,
two internal medicine doctors who spent years practicing traditional primary care. Over time, we realized something was missing from modern healthcare. A real understanding of how everyday lifestyle choices impact overall health.
We'll help you cut through the noise of the countless health influencers and their conflicting opinions, because no matter who you follow, the basics of lifestyle medicine are at the heart of it all.
Welcome back to The Starting Gate. We're your hosts, Dr. Kitty Dotson
and Dr. Sarah Sheets.
We're so excited to have you back with us today. Hopefully you're not getting too bogged down in holiday stress, but today we're going to talk about something that may feel stressful to you. I don't think it feels stressful to you, Sarah.
No, I think that this is a stress reliever.
And that is meal prep. So we are hoping we can give you some ideas on meal prep and how to make that an easier part of your life, especially rounding out this year and entering into 2025.
Many times people get very stressed out just with the idea of coming up with a new meal every single night. So we want to give you some of those tips and tricks on how to plan better so you have less stress. And so we invited an actual expert on meal prepping, and we are so excited to have Collins Youngblood today. Collins, can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes, my name is Collins Youngblood, and I am originally from Richmond, Virginia, and I have a beautiful wife named Sarah Youngblood, and we just had a baby about 11 months ago, and her birthday's coming up soon.
She's adorable.
Thank you. And her name is Presley Grace Youngblood. So thank you for having me, and yes, like they said, I am the owner of LeanFeast's, and I've been running LeanFeast's for 3.5 years, so...
Can you give our listeners a brief story? Because this isn't how you've always had a career in food, right? So tell us how you got there and where you came from.
So I actually have a degree in mechanical engineering. That's kind of left field for a lot of people, and a partial MBA. I think it was back in August of 2020. I was tired of corporate America. I've been in corporate America in engineering for about 7 to 8 years. And this opportunity portrayed itself in August of 2020. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was kind of talking to myself in the kitchen, and I was like, how cool would it be to run a restaurant? And so obviously there's a lot of things that stem up to that point, but just to be respectful of time and whatnot, August of 2020 was kind of when the idea and the opportunity portrayed itself.
And I know, because I know your full story, that Whole Foods and learning how to eat more whole foods really pushed you to this career path. And that's been the theme of our whole month, is telling our listeners the importance of whole foods. So can you give us a little bit of insight on why you became so passionate about food and eating whole foods?
Yeah, so it goes back to my high school. I'll never forget, I had a track coach, Miss Sabo. And I was overweight at the time in middle school for about 3 years. I was wrestling through some childhood trauma and abuse that I experienced. And Miss Sabo, out of, the entire high school, she was my indoor track coach. And I really feel like she kind of had a pretty big impact on my life, just to start with putting down the sugar and eating more whole foods, whether that was, exercising or eating a balanced diet. People look at me now and they're like, wow, you're the picture of health. But really, Miss Sabo, and then I have to give it to my wife. I'm a old school conventional food person, and she kick-started me into understanding organic, grass-fed, grass-finished beef. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without Miss Sabo back in high school and my wife.
And when you were on this journey of changing your diet, can you just give our listeners a little bit of insight about how you felt different, what differences you saw in your health specifically when you made this big change?
Yeah, so where to start with that? Such a good question. I will say once I started to eliminate the processed foods in high school. So cookie dough was my choice, my vice.
We all have vices.
My kryptonite. So cookie dough. And I gained about like 60 to 90 pounds in middle school from eating raw cookie dough at night. And it wasn't until, my grandmother obviously having an impact because she raised me, and my grandfather, but having the balanced protein, carb, vegetable. I know that sounds so simple, and
we like simple on this show.
But once again, it works. I mean, that is the definition of a balanced diet. Your protein, your carb, your vegetable. That's how you calculate your macros, your caloric intake. I mean, we have to keep it simple if we're going to start anywhere. Right. And so after that, after my high school and after college, really I springboarded into natural bodybuilding. And with natural bodybuilding, I invested into a coach who helped me understand what dieting looks like, how the body is so unique and so complex. But yet again, once again, his diet was very simple. And so I was the one that if I was going to invest in a coach and have somebody keep me accountable, that I knew would be the kickstart of my health journey.
That's fantastic. It's so helpful having that accountability up front and someone to guide you, because in today's world, it's confusing. If you don't have someone leading the way and helping you figure out what to do, you can quickly get overwhelmed and confused and just throw up your hands and not do anything. And that's one of the reasons I love meal prep personally, because I think it's a great habit to help people know where to start and how to get started. And I know that's the basis of your whole business, but we wanted to talk about today specifically what is your approach to meal prep and how that's helped you continue with these habits that you have, just to be able to give that advice to our listeners.
So first off, the hardest part is starting. I think denial is a big one. So I actually, just to be bold and vulnerable here, I was an alcoholic for about 14 years, and I didn't want to hear that I had a problem. And so we can look at the alcoholic as he has a problem, or we can look at the person that can't put down sugar. Both very troublesome vices.
Agree.
And so I think acknowledging that you have a problem first is step one. Whether it's emotional eating, I've been there. In middle school, I was there. I was emotionally eating because of not only the abuse but the trauma that I suffered, not only in middle school, but also from my childhood when I lost my father and my mom couldn't be there to raise me because she was battling with her own demons and own issues. And so I think the very first step that I can tell listeners is write down a list. What triggers do you have? We have to be first real with ourselves before we can be real with other people. Our spouses, our kids. And so when you can stop listening to bad news and you can get away from toxic people, I really deeply believe that we can see a significant change and turnaround. Now, it's an uphill battle. I'm not going to say that's easy because I've been there. But where to start would be acknowledging that you have a problem. And if it is meal prep, then I can help you.
I have a problem. So,
thank you for letting us know, Kitty.
Now that I've acknowledged it here, I've seen this post a bunch of different places online, and it really resonates with me. And it says, "Who knew that the hardest part about being an adult is figuring out what to cook for dinner every single night for the rest of your life until you die?" Help us that feel like, oh my gosh, it's Sunday. I cannot believe I have to think about this again. Didn't I just think about this? And for those people that don't enjoy thinking about this, I feel like, Sarah, you get excited to meal prep your week. For those of us that aren't super excited to meal prep for the week and think about it and have to make that decision again of what are we going to eat, how can we approach it better?
Another very good question. I think first, have fun with it. And you don't have to dread on Sunday because there's always Saturday. I think it's the priorities. Okay, I think when your priorities are in line and you do take your health serious, I think you understand, wow, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. And I think that's where I would start is prioritize. What are you putting as a priority? What are your top 3 priorities? And if health and food is not on your top 3 priorities, Houston, we have a problem. I'm just going to say this with all due sincerity. And when I can find myself, I notice that my productivity and my efficiency and my effectiveness, I can be a better husband, I can be a better father, I can be a better colleague, I can be a better boss or employee if I'm putting good food in my body. And I always say this, you are what you eat and you are what your food eats. And that's where I would start. And it's overwhelming. It's not easy. I'm not going to say this is easy, but it is overwhelming at times. But also, you have to say, well, let me give this a shot. And what do you have to lose?
Let me ask you, just trying to logistically do it, because I get bogged down in what am I going to make for dinner and having to think about that thought every time. So when it comes to meal prep, do you think it's easier for people to just focus on, okay, I'm going to make sure I have my proteins for the week and go ahead and prep those. And then if on the fly I want to mix that with whatever else, whatever vegetables I have in the house, that's better? Or do you think it's better to just really try to think about the full meal, make sure you have everything for that, and if you're overwhelmed, just think about a couple days at a time?
Great. I like that we're breaking this down. So first, do you like Pinterest?
No.
Do you have a Pinterest?
No, but I am just not very social media savvy. So I do have an account. I just don't get on it very often.
Okay. So my wife loves Pinterest because she gets ideas from there. Also, you have other friends that probably cook?
Yes.
Okay. So, and it's funny how we have mentors around us. We just don't use them or acknowledge them.
That's a very good point.
Right? And
I've even tapped into that idea. One of my favorite things I ever did, and I had friends reach out to me again this year asking if I was going to do it, is last year I just randomly asked, hey, I need some new soup recipes. Send them my way. And I had so many people say, hey, can you do that again this year? I need some more soup recipes. We don't use each other. That is a profound thought that I had not really, tapped into of we need to use each other.
Yeah, love your neighbor as yourself.
Yes.
And when you have your neighbor around you and you have friends and you have your community, if we don't tap into that, then how do we really grow as a community? And to your point, I'm not trying to be, it's that easy. I can just phone my girlfriend or whatever the case is. But we have to start somewhere. And I always ask, how bad do you want it? And to your point, I have people that come to me and say, hey, I can cook my carbs and my veggies. I just need help with the meat because it takes the longest to cook. Great, buy bulk meat for me. Or hey, I can take care of the meat because my husband's smoking meat. Can you give me the complex carbs and the veggies? Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you some bulk rice and here's some Brussels sprouts or some broccoli, and you can saute it yourself. But if we don't start, you're not going to finish, and it's not going to be a daily habit or a routine. Because I'm very routine-minded. So my wife, what she'll do, crock pot. I know everybody owns a crock pot.
I love the crock pot.
Bring on the crock pot.
Right?
Yes.
I know everybody owns a crock pot. My wife will throw some chicken, throw some onions, and then she'll let it set, and she'll just set. She'll let it set and go, and then we'll have it for Sunday. I mean, it takes 10 minutes. She did it this morning, actually. We're making short ribs. We're making short ribs from Marksberry. And so she slathered on barbecue sauce, or the Primal Kitchen barbecue sauce, some seasonings, whatnot, put some water in there, and it's done. We're going to have dinner tonight. It takes 7 hours. She doesn't have to think about it. And she knows that I'm going to do the Brussels sprouts and I'm going to make some rice in a rice cooker.
Yeah, that Primal Kitchen is good for anybody listening because it just doesn't have the added sugar, which most barbecue sauces do. So I love that thought of using the crock pot because I think that helps a lot, especially if you're the person preparing food and you work. It allows you to at least prepare the meat or prepare soups and that's going to be ready for you. One thing that helped me a little bit lately was I decided Mondays are soup days because that works for our family as far as activities after school. And then I know that people can eat the soup when they want. So that's the only day I've nailed down so far is Monday is soup day. But I thought maybe if I can nail down different days, then that'll help me as far as having to make the decision of what I'm going to do. You have any other ideas besides a soup day?
Taco Tuesday.
That's exactly. My family loves Mexican-style dishes, and so every week we have one day that it's not always tacos, but it can be a play on something Mexican. So it just narrows down the thought process. So that always helps. One that I tend to do as well is just thinking about, especially during grilling season, I have a night that it's automatically we're grilling something. So that makes it easy. And for those of you all who have children, something that has been extremely helpful, because nothing is more defeating than you make something you're super excited about and you get it to the table and your kids are like, bleh.
Yes.
That just breaks your heart, right? I include them on Sundays, and Collins mentioned this, I include them when we're talking about the meals for the week. Each child gets to pick one of the meals. And so that helps when they are being included, because I find it so much easier to get my children to eat when they are included in the process. If they're around and they want to help cook, I find something always for them to help do. It can be something even tiny. And if it's a more complicated thing and they're just setting the table, that's great. But I want them involved, because I've noticed the more involved, the easier it is to get them to be, appreciative of the meal and try different things because they were a part of making it. So that's one way that has helped me feel less frustrated by it, is just making it a part of the whole family.
Love that.
And we have YouTube University. I find a lot of information off of YouTube that you can find. I mean, I love what you said about schedule. If you don't live by schedule, you will fail. I've learned that being a small business owner. I've learned that in my own life. I'm still struggling with that as well because, and you guys know this, a small business can consume all avenues of you, almost like a small child.
It's its own baby.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
right. So I love what you said, though, like having the kids, because once the kids are looking up to you, whether you see that or not, and you're pouring into them whether they know that or not. But I love that the teaching element of food, because if we're not teaching these kids what to cook or how to cook, then what are we doing, honestly? But I guarantee by the time their mothers or whatnot, hey, my mom played a huge part in my life, and I wouldn't be where she is today if it wasn't for her teaching element on Sundays. And then when they take that to college or when they're off on their own. So I love encompassing the kids early, Sarah. That's really, really great.
And when you do that, it makes everyone feel included. And just as you said, that helps remove the frustration because we're all doing it together. And it's great when they're excited. One of my favorite things is we do a lot of fruit prep on Sundays, getting it all ready for the week, because my kids will eat so much more fruit if it's just right there, right in front in the fridge. And so we do that. And during melon season, when melons are all great, they absolutely love cutting up cantaloupe, watermelon, etc. Our kitchen is a mess. Don't get me wrong. It is not pretty, but it is a valuable tool. We have like kid knives.
Yeah, we've got those too.
And just getting them involved, they love it. And it makes everything feel like it's less pressure. And that's something that I've tapped into to help with that when it comes to meal prepping and planning. And the other thing that I like is actually having a planner. And we've used different ones, but it's visible for everyone to see. And on Sunday, if we pick out our meals, I put what we're having each day of the week, because there is something about being at the end of the day and getting, a text from my husband or one of the kids, what are we having for dinner? It's already figured out. And so if something happens and one of us has to start it because the other one's later or whatnot, we're all on the same page. It takes that pressure when you're already exhausted from a work day, because everyone already knows. Everyone's on the same page. There's no arguing or fighting about it.
So good. I think I'm taking a lot out of this podcast already. I'm definitely taking notes. I know you guys see me.
We learn from each other. That's
You'll have
why
to
we
get
wanted
those
to
kids'
do this.
knives when your daughter is a little bit older.
You guys thought I was going to give meal prep, but I'm actually taking notes on being a new father.
I think another thing that a lot of people get concerned about is trying to eat healthier and it being expensive. And I would love for you to give insight on how meal prepping can actually help with cost, because I know that you have helped people with that, specifically reducing food waste and having that plan. If you could let our listeners know what you have realized.
Well, I want to ask a question real quick for you guys, just to challenge you guys. What is the two biggest reasons why we can't meal prep?
For me, I would say I get decision fatigue, just like, oh my gosh, I've thought about a million things and planned a million things for us to do this week, and then now I've got to decide every meal for everyone in our house for the next week, and I'm just sick of making decisions. One thing that's helped me with that is I've finally started really keeping a list separately on my computer of the meals that I've gotten good feedback from the family. And so if I'm struggling, I'll be like, okay, let me just look at my list. I'll pick some out. But I'd say, just feeling annoyed that I have to decide all these meals for the week again. And then time.
My two would be time. That one is always, even, I'm not one that makes everything on Sunday. It's more of prepping a few things and then actually just having the plan for the dinners for the week. So the biggest obstacle is if my Sunday gets messed up, And so the day I normally do that is filled with other activities, then my whole week can be off. So I am very picky about what I agree to do on Sundays, because when I can't do my normal planning and grocery shopping on Sundays, I know my whole week is going to be off and I need to figure out another day in the week that I can reset. So time and schedule getting shifted, that's the biggest one for me. And then two, everyone in my family, we are gung-ho on certain recipes for a period of time, and then suddenly we don't want to look at it ever again for 6 months. So when we hit that mark, we recently had that with a specific salmon meal that I make, and I looked at everyone, I was like, we need a break? Is it time for a break on this meal? No one's excited about it anymore. And everyone said yes. I said, okay, back burner for now. This isn't in our normal 2-week rotation. We'll bring it back later. And I've realized to just be honest when those things happen, and when I give a huge chunk of time away from it and then bring it back, everyone enjoys it again. So on that list, as Kitty just mentioned, is keeping some of those in mind, realizing when people are getting burnt out about it and giving it a break, because bringing it back later, you'll notice a difference and everyone will enjoy it again. So those are my two biggest things that I struggle with, and not always being aware when it's happening.
That's good. Those are good.
Help us.
Time was the number one. So you guys both hit the nail on the head on that. And I would say money. Inflation's at an all-time high, but that's when you have to be creative. And you guys all both know that we've had to be very, very creative over the last 4 years. And so that's where I want to help. And so it's interesting. I just watched, actually my wife, I have to give credit to my wife. She was watching Bobby Flav City.
We love Bobby
Yes.
Flav. Our house.
Bobby Flav. And if you don't have the app, this is definitely, I'm not getting paid by this.
Nobody's getting paid for anything here, guys.
Right. I do want Bobby to come to my restaurant because I think I have some Bobby approved products. But he was talking about going to Chipotle and how Chipotle for a burrito bowl is like $12 or $10, just to keep whole numbers. He went to Walmart and made the same burrito bowl for $2. He got conventional chicken, the rice and whatnot, and he made it. And so he said, this burrito bowl that I just made was $2. I have times that by 5. I literally have my Monday, my Tuesday, my Wednesday, my Thursday, and my Friday lunches. So it can be done. But it all goes back to kind of what we were kind of bouncing back on. What time will I allocate? And also I'm going to go even a step further is, am I budgeting my money correctly? Okay, I am eating out a lot this week. Can I bring that back? Because we know, you and I both know now, eating fast food is just as expensive as my restaurant. And I will literally, you go to Chick-fil-A and get a chicken sandwich with a drink and fries. It is the same price as a steak meal. And so I don't want to hear that, well, fast food's easy and convenient and I'm saving money. No, you're not. I'm a big on Dave Ramsey. And if I saw your bank statement for a month, I guaranteed I could find some money that we could literally be real with both of ourselves and not input feelings and emotions behind it and say, wow, I can allocate maybe some of that money to making my family healthier. But you have to be real with yourself at first. And so I think time and money are the two reasons why people do not start. They don't have enough time. We say that, but yet again, on Saturdays, you can go to a tailgate for 7 hours. Okay, I'm not trying to show shade, but I'm just saying. Or hey, I can go to that tailgate, but hey, let me make sure that my family's. I can go to the grocery store in the morning, and then hey, you can go watch football in the afternoon. That's fine. But am I managing my time right? And then also, am I managing my money right? Hey, honey, I've noticed we've been eating out for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and we spent over $3,500 because me and my wife had that problem when she was pregnant. We were emotionally eating, and I just kind of gave in, of course.
That happens in pregnancy.
And right. But once again, I looked back and I said, hey, honey, we've spent a lot of money here. Do you think now that Presley's born, can we kind of get our savings account back, and can we kind of manage and watch? And it's been beautiful. We don't eat out a lot. We cook more. She's actually been challenged now. She's cooking more, and she loves it. And so now she has a healthier habit than going to get Mexican, because we love La Taquiza. We love Mexican. And so I think time and money are the two reasons why people don't start. Nobody likes to be wrong. We don't like to be wrong or acknowledge that we have a problem. And so there's a fine balance, right? We have to be compassionate. We have to be real with ourselves, but we also have to understand what is the root cause here.
I love the brutal honesty that you're talking about, because I really think in all lifestyle changes, not just nutrition, the more that you can just accept that maybe I have a bad habit or I'm really struggling with an addiction to X, Y, or Z, the easier it will be to make the change. Sometimes it's just expressing it and trying to lean in and get that accountability so you can have success.
Yeah. And one thing that I think can help with time and also help with some of the habits as far as not picking up things you shouldn't pick up is making use of the grocery pickup. I go to Kroger, I live very near a Kroger, and thank you, ClickList employees that pull for me. But that helps me so much because it really saves time, and you can already look at the ingredient list on your app. If you're not aware of that, you can see the nutrition label on your app. All of that is there, and it kind of keeps track of what you typically get. So if you every week you go through your bag of lettuce and your salad fixins and your fruit and protein, it keeps track of all that, and you can quickly go through and do that. And then you're not accidentally picking up that new chip flavor that's at the end of the aisle that attracted you. So that can save you a lot of time and save you from some of your bad habits. So, Collins, what would you say, like, if someone's saying, I really want to be able to meal prep on a budget this week, so trying to make use of things like maybe some canned goods or some frozen vegetables or things like that, anything, some of those cheaper options than just fresh vegetables and grass-fed beef, what are some cheaper options you would recommend to people?
Honestly, Costco or Sam's Club, buying bulk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where I started when I got into the meal prep or the bodybuilding world. Is I went to Costco or Sam's Club, whether I was living in Texas or Columbus, Ohio. I started there. I'd get my rice in bulk, I'd get my chicken in bulk, and I'd get my veggies in bulk. And I just started. And did I fail some? Yeah, I did. But once again, I leaned on friends. I leaned on the people that were experts in their craft. And I even encourage people that are listening, hey, come on in if you need some help. You don't need to buy anything from me. I love sharing my failures, my successes, all in between with people that have a heart and a willing heart to start.
And with that being said, can you tell us specifically how LeanFeast's can help people?
Yeah, so honestly, if you just want lunch, if you want a healthier option on lunch, we're creatures of habit. We can all agree. You mentioned eating salmon for 6 months, and I bet it was a good salmon.
It was.
I can see your husband right now saying, honey, politely, I don't need salmon today. I can see it right now. Honey, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So start me for lunch or dinner, and it'll snowball from there. And even if you don't ever come back, at least I gave you an option and an idea.
Can you just explain a little bit more about when you're saying you can help and you can give an idea? What can someone expect if they walk in to LeanFeast? What are the options? What can you help with?
Yeah, so how it works is we're very similar to Chipotle. You start with Chipotle, you'd start with your burrito or your carbs. For us, we start with our protein. And I've never seen this before. When I go into a Chipotle or any other meal prep company, and I'm not, once again, I'm truly wanting to be honest here, we weigh out your food cooked with a scale. So when you ask for 4 ounces of protein, I'm giving you that, and my guys have to weigh out your protein in front of you. Then we transition over to a complex carb, and then you pick a vegetable, and if you're on a keto diet, you won't get the carb. You can choose within a couple of veggies that equal a cup or 2 cups, and that's it. Heat it up how you would like. Some people put it in a saute pan. Some people put it in the microwave. Some people put it in the oven. Some people put it in the air fryer, and it's that easy. And I love what my wife said. She said, our restaurant branches the gap between fast food and fine dining, and we are very humble and proud to say that we offer local products such as Marksberry, Critchfield, and Bourbon County bison for this community. And I love what she said. That's what we want to be. We know fine dining is expensive. Not saying that Tony's or Jeff Ruby's is not important, but once again, and then we also love our fast food. We want to branch the gap between the two, and that's why we're here in Lexington. Kentucky.
I'm just thinking about logistically how someone could use you. So if they've got a busy day ahead and they've got kids in different sports and it's going to be dinner on the fly, which would have been fast food, but they say, I'm going to make a better option and go LeanFeast instead. How logistically do they do that? Do they have to come to LeanFeast location? Can they order ahead? Can they order 3 days ahead? Or how does that work?
We have so many different logistic options for you now. And I haven't told anybody this, but we are going to a new system in 2025, more efficient, very similar to like Amazon Click. And just, I'm not a fan of our online platform. Once again, for people that don't know, we were a franchise. We are not anymore a franchise. Praise the Lord on that, because that was a nightmare. And that was 3 years of hassle and wrestling. And back on October of 2023, we branched away and now we're independently owned. So that's a very big miracle and answer to prayer. But we are brick and mortar, open Monday through Saturday. And so if they want to order online and have it delivered, we have that platform available. Now, I will just give them a heads up. Our system's a little complex. It's because you have to pick your protein. You have to pick a flavor, the amount of ounces you want. Then you go to your carb. What carb? We have 6-7 different complex carbs. Then we have over 12 different vegetables. So it is a little bit time consuming. However, there is a subscription option, or there's just, like you said, using the app of Kroger. It's very similar to the app of Kroger where it saves your last history. So, hey, I like that tri-tip steak meal. I'm going to get it again. Oh, go to your last order, put in your cart, and that's it, and check out. So there's just so many different ways. I know a lot of parents who are probably like honing in on here, go to Aqua Tots. We're right next to Aqua Tots.
And that's exactly how I found LeanFeast's.
It's also how I saw it. I was like peeking in the window one day. I was like, what is this?
And that is what is so great about LeanFeast's and how I found it, because after going to a swim lesson, popped in there and was able to pick up a meal for our family. And now it's become even more regular because my daughter does gymnastics at Legacy, and it's right near that as well. So instead of taking the time to go to Chick-fil-A, there is an amazing healthy option that I can pick up on the go by just jumping into LeanFeast's, getting some meals. And yes, it is kid-friendly, and my children love it. So you have an option to get something quick without having to go through a fast food line.
Despite waiting in the line of Chick-fil-A or in Chipotle, I can make a meal within a minute. It's that easy. I like to use the example of a friend of mine, Mr. Johnson. I won't say his first name, but Mr. Johnson. He orders 10, and what he'll do is he'll get a couple in case kids have doctor's appointments or whatnot. They're good in the fridge 4 to 5 days, and you can also freeze them ahead of time. If you are going to freeze them, pull them out the day before. But once again, you can buy one or you can buy 20 with me. I have a surgeon right now that buys 20 because he eats 3 of them a day. Or I have a guy that, has two boys and a wife that works, and it's a little stressful schedule right now for her. And so what he does is he'll get a couple for them to have for dinner because he knows that his wife may be on call or whatnot. So I want to meet your needs. This is a lifestyle. This is not just a check in the box. And so I want people to take this serious. If this is a priority, come on in and we can help you and we can walk alongside of you. I have a woman right now that I'm working with, and I bless her heart. She has lost over 65 pounds and she's in her 60s.
Woohoo! That is awesome.
So there are no excuses for people that are listening. I serve an 80-year-old right now. Her husband passed away and she's a widow. She lives on the north side of town. She'll either get it delivered or she wants to just come over, and she likes to choose and pick, and she gets outside because she wants the vitamin D. It all depends on it. I know for a fact if people make health a priority, they will find it.
If you really sat down and looked at how much you're spending, because in general, when we think about buying out, we're thinking, oh, well, that's going to be expensive for me to do that. But I think if you probably looked at what are you buying that you end up wasting, and how much are you spending on going out, probably not losing anything. You're probably saving if you do plan that way. So you're doing some, LeanFeast's is doing some.
So the time it takes to prep the food or go to the grocery store, they're probably going to spend about an hour to 2 hours from time of travel, groceries, and bringing back, to the prepping the food, to the cooking the food, weighing the food out, preparing it, and now we can see where the time is going. Also the money, okay? So normally people spend, I think, I saw a study that 70% of stuff that's in their cart shouldn't be in their cart. I'm guilty. I'm calling myself out on this too. Once again, if we go to Chick-fil-A with a family of 3 or 4, spend over $50, and we do that twice, you would have been able to afford a 10-pack with LeanFeast's, just to put it in perspective. And so when you have soup on Monday, I don't want to be your Monday meal.
Yeah.
Okay? Let me be your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then if you want to go out on Friday, that's fine. And so I want to work with people's schedules. I've never been good at sales. I'm not going to pressure you in buying something you don't want to buy. I'm not. You can come in and get one, or you can come in and get 7 or 6. I'm content on serving local food, fresh food, quality food, and I'm branching into a couple of organic products as well with mine that it's not cheap. And so right now I'm really just trying to be a beacon of light for the community of Lexington.
Yes, if you don't live in Lexington, you need to just maybe search online, search your community, and see if you have your own Collins Youngblood near you that is doing the same thing. And you may have never known about it, or you may have peeked in the window and not known, but there might be somebody doing this near you, so it's worth it. And
even if it's HelloFresh or Factor Meals, at least you've started. You know, you've made the investment and the decision to start, whether it's good food or not. And quite frankly, you know, there are prepaid meals at Whole Foods and Kroger. I just encourage people just to start. And then you'll see with me, with my 10-year, I call it a journey, you know, fitness journey, lifestyle fitness journey, that I'm still learning and I'm still open to learn. And so I just want to let people know that you're not alone. If you need help or guidance, you have Kitty, you have Sarah, and then you also have LeanFeast's to help you out here.
That's great, because the whole purpose of this podcast is just to help people get started.
So just in recapping, kind of thinking about some of the ideas you gave us today to get started, one would be just keep it simple. Think protein, complex carb, and vegetable. And you don't need to get more elaborate than that. Keep it simple. Resources are out there. Look at Pinterest, survey your friends and neighbors, look online, and you can find ideas, and then try to keep track of those so you're not searching for them again in the future. Think of having specific days. You can have a soup day, a Mexican food day, a grill night, your weekly fruit prep like Sarah does, and try to just make those things stable so you're not reinventing the wheel every time. And then realize that LeanFeast's is here in Lexington to help you and has lots of different options for how much you want to incorporate that, or just come on in and talk to Collins and get some individual advice yourself.
And we hope that you all have enjoyed this past month on stress and the month before on nutrition. Next week, on December 31st, we're going to have a show specifically about making New Year's resolutions, because we want to be there to help support you in this endeavor so you can have success in 2025. And if that show isn't enough, we're also creating a course that will be available on the Better Health Library that you can purchase, where we will walk you through step by step how to make realistic goals and be successful in 2025. Both of those will be live on December 31st.
So we hope you have a great holiday, and don't forget to follow us and leave us a review on Apple or Spotify. You can also contact us at contact@thestartinggatepodcast.com, or click that little button that says send us a text. And this is a cool new feature where you can just send us any information you want about topics you want us to cover or anything else. And we look forward to hearing from you.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.